Hello, hello. Happy Friday. That intro song was a lot, huh? I'm gonna switch radio stations now. How's it going, y'all? Thank Godot it's Friday. Hey, Roblox Nick. Diginanigans, Nix. How's it going, everyone? Happy Friday. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. I'm gonna drink my coffee. Happy Friday indeed. Yes, Nanigans. How's it going, everyone? So what we're doing this week is we're kind of messing around with our cutaway model, which is how we're able to peer into these sealed ships. We're delving into that a bit more. I messed around with it yesterday. I'm going to kind of show my thinking on it here. So here's a couple of different models we've been looking at. I know I said I was going to do a diagram, and I did, but it's not easy to diagram, and I figured it would be easier to just walk through and see it reflective in the actual system. Before I do that, I guess I'm trying to do better about doing like an actual intro of like, this is Digital Iliad. I'm Dave. We're working on an FTL-like, which is FTL stands for FTL Faster Than Light. It's like a classic starship management game. We're working on our own take on FTL in isometric 2D using Godot as our game engine. Right now, we're working on the systems that let us peer into these pseudo 3D spaces that are sealed and allow us to like look at scenes like this by like cutting away walls and ceilings that we don't want. And that's what we're doing. Hey, Sapphire. Only been able to hang out for a little bit. Tomorrow will be another flyby. No worries. You're moving house and everything. That's busy stuff. Don't worry about us. All right, so here's some of the differences of the way the model works right now, which I don't absolutely love. So the first thing I'm going to show is what I call the interior cutaway by compartments. And this is where we do cutaways solely based on the sealed room and the rooms that are in front of said room. This is good. And I think it's neat because it pays attention to the way that we want to render these, which is we want to render them by per compartment. Right now, we're not really doing that. Right now, we're rendering by z-index. But I kind of want something like this. So here we've got our sealed exterior. Inside there are a number of compartments. So we need like a way of being able to peer into these compartments, right? So here's the cutaway specific way, I say, as my manual control doesn't seem to be doing anything. There we go. So here's like, we're in here, so we're cutting away everything so that we can see this room. Like, this is fine. But if we go to this room, all of a sudden we can't see this room anymore, right? Like, we cut away the room in front because it's in the way. This I don't want to do. I think it's a little too extreme. Like, it's compartment based, but it's a little too much. I know we've had this argument like countless times, and I keep changing my mind about it, but each time we get a little more context, so it makes a little more sense. So if instead of that, we do just a straight up per coordinate cutaway, we get something else. We get what I'll show here. So here's the same kind of demo. might do a little bit of a taller one. Do like a multi-level example. So already you can see there's this. Well, it's hard to see, but I can do it like this. Yeah, you can already see that there's this kind of little cutaway effect that kicks in. It stops because our cursor mapping system doesn't know about the cutaway, which I actually kind of want the cursor mapping system to respect the cutaway, so we might mess around with that. So right now it's not terribly useful, but this is the idea, is that it like peels away. And there are flaws with doing it this way. There's issues doing it this way, but I kind of think I might prefer this. So we're going to make like a ceiling for the first level, like this. And we'll make a ceiling for the next level up here. And we'll finish the walls. All right, so now when we peer into the space, we get this. We get something that's very tight and very close to the cursor. Not the actual cursor, but that's because I'm manipulating the Z level of the cursor, which you can see reflected in the block, but you can't actually see it reflected in the cursor itself. That's something else we want to work on as well. So there's a couple things I like about this one. One is that we retain this lowest level wall. This like short cutaway wall, which makes it a lot easier to tell where the walls are. There's a couple of circumstances that might be annoying, but that's kind of what I prefer. And then if we go down another level, I like this. It's pretty good. It gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on in the layer above you. It gives you a pretty good view into what you can immediately see. The area there where this would be the most awkward is in like how that impacts the compartment-based rendering, because it means visible compartments will be updating constantly, which is actually okay, because the thing we want to do is we just want to save work and not work on compartments that don't need to be seen. It's probably where most of our savings are going to go. So I'm tempted to go back to this sort of thing. I kind of prefer this, if I'm being honest. I think there's some issues. I honestly much prefer this kind of cutaway at the moment. I didn't like it very much with the old block model, but I'm kind of coming around to it. You won't see this sort of thing because I don't think that's how that's going to work, but we jump to the next surface. Hey, Sapphire with the 70 stream watch streak. It's incredible. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you finding time in your day to hang out with us, even if it's just for a minute. Kind of wild to me. Anybody does that. It looks pretty good to you. Even satisfying to use. Yeah, I like the responsiveness. There's definitely some downsides to having it be this responsive. Like I said, with the having to redraw things all the time. You do it similar to the second style, but rather than it being strictly the cursor, expand it out to the room bounds. I've done that too. I've done that as well. I don't know if I love that. We can definitely try it. Previous iterations have had something like that. Problem is that gets really complicated for some cases. For Blockneck, you've been out of the loop for a while, but the tile builder looks phenomenal since the last few updates. I appreciate that. Yeah, we have it's higher resolution now, because the blocks are much smaller. The blocks aren't these big chunky things. They're much more specific and small, and that's nice. It lets us do things like have that one little threshold block remaining. So I don't really want this kind of a look. Like, it's still clear where the walls are here, but like, what's the difference between a wall and a door? Like, it's hard to tell unless you have that extra little bit of threshold. Yeah, at the moment I'm leaning more into this style. I might do something like Nanigan said, where we do like a cutaway of the room that you're in, and then do a cursor cutaway that augments that. I could see an argument for that. I think that starts to fall apart when you look at rooms that aren't simple rectangles. Because you could easily run into an issue. Like, the easiest thing to do would be to pick whatever the minimum coordinate is for the room and just do a cutaway from there. I kind of like how closely it follows the cursor. Like, it doesn't give you as much situational awareness as I would like, and maybe that's why the room-based one would be better. The only real question is how to combine them. There's also some stuff that can just hide in the corner like this, if we do it like this, and I'm okay with that. We'll just do some kind of, like, outline shader in case an object is like partly obscured by a corner piece or something. Graphical representation looks really intuitive. I appreciate that. Would you display any hashed lines for tile placement based on the edges of the room or chunk? I might do some hash lines coming out from the cursor. If the cursor is, if like this the little block that follows the cursor around, if it's like off the ground, I'm tempted to do some like little hash marks or something that project it onto the ground so that you can see where it is. But I think that's what I would do if I did anything. But yeah, we're going to keep messing around with the cutaway today. We'll try different stuff out. I'd like to settle on a solution today. Even a shadow. Yeah, I've done the shadow in the past. The shadow helped a lot. Yeah, that would be quite good. Is the bitmask 3D not part of di.bit? That's weird. No, I guess it's part of di.ecs. Yeah. I think it'll be cool. So one thing that I want to do is I want the cursor system to respect cutaways. So let's do that. Is it possible to do that? I think we're going to run into this double buffering problem again. I think we almost need like a triple buffer. Because we need... Hey, Rhiannon. Finally chat. You've been cleaning your keyboard? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's an important thing to do. That can be very difficult to do. Keyboard I have is really hard to clean because it's one of those weird ergonomic curvy ones. Happy Friday. Sorry for the yawn. I'm like tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. I just got back from a vacation and yet I'm so tired. I think tiredness is just par for the course. Rhiannon, the reality of having 3 dogs that shed a lot means you already see hairs between the keys. Oh no, even though you just cleaned it. Yeah. Dog hair is forever. There's certain kinds. The wiry short ones just get everywhere, and I've found those for years after I moved away from home. All right, so I want this to understand and respect. Okay, so it's reading. Okay, so the cursor mapping system is actually reading the settled blocks. That I could maybe work with. Not really, though. Yeah, we have to figure out a workflow where the read data is safe to read. The data is safe to read. We need to be a little more cautious and careful about our system dependency. Nix, testing still. Yeah, sorry your VPN is giving you all these troubles. Or your VPNs, as you said. So we have all of these. So we have a preview buffer and a settled buffer. Preview is what we're using to render. Settled is what we're using to like save. It's like what's actually considered like been placed. Problem is we're writing to some stuff in the preview and we also want to read it. The easiest way to do that is to just force them to read the settled version. But that doesn't sync very often. So I have to figure out how I want to do that. You could leave it like that, calculate out the whole closed map as well, and use an alpha gradient to mask out the complete room. Where under is the normal room. That's an option. That's an interesting option. I'll have to think about that. Yeah, the thing I don't think I love is the cutaway by room anymore. Or at least I don't know if I love. So here's a scenario that we have to figure out if we want to support this. It's when you're talking about the rooms and how to make it look pretty. Yeah. Yeah, there's a balance somewhere. So like what if we have this kind of a room? This is like the This is like a use case Nanigans thought about, which is a good test, which is like the C-shaped room. So what if we have a room that's like this? Because this is also going to be a struggle for our rendering model, this kind of a room. So what if we have a room here? And we have another room out here. This has a lot of consequences for both the rendering and the cutaway, and is something that we need to think about. So if I go into this room and we do a room-based cutaway, what does that look like? Do we just bounding box it and do this? Honestly, that's pretty tempting. We just figure out what the closest bounding box is. And this is kind of not a great example. So like this does a cutaway, and it could just cut away everything in front. Like honestly, we don't even have to define a bounding box. We just have to define a maximum coordinate and then cut away everything in front of that. It depends on what we want to do for rooms in front. Yeah, I feel like we're going to do this in layers. Because then, yeah, if we do the same thing here, it looks more like this, which is fine. It's pretty good. Do I want to cut all the way to the wall and just leave the floor piece in? That's kind of maybe more what I want to do. Rather than leave the overhang here on the wall, cut flush to the wall, but leave the little floor piece out. I think that's what I want to do for sure. I kind of like this. Yeah, this is tough. This is also tough for rendering because I think this room would need to be broken up into 3 pieces for the rendering to work correctly. Like this bigger, the outer C room. Like we'd have one section in the back, and then we would need one section here. Oh, it would need to be at least 2. But I think what I would end up doing is have a system that like breaks up the space into as few rectangles as necessary, and then uses that to create canvas items that we use, just so everything renders in front of everything else correctly. So otherwise that's going to be a pain. Nyx, Chili chilled out so much today, she didn't even run away from your significant other. She was able to pet her as well. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it sounds like she's really, Chili's really getting comfortable in her new home. That's great to hear. Yeah, I think I like this idea. I think I want to go back to like a bounding box based cutaway, even in the case of the room is not like a super great fit from like a visual standpoint, I think we can still get away with that kind of a cutaway. I think that might be still a good way to do it. Even if like let's say we even had like a room on top of here or something. Shenanigans. You think there's simple algorithms to detect if you've got concave versus convex outlines? You could just take the bounds of the room, ignoring any concave parts so that you can always see the whole room, but it doesn't overexpand. Yeah, we could try something like that. Toss together a quick mock-up of you mean in a sec. You don't feel obliged to. I'm not always good at visualizing the things people suggest, and it's not that they explained it badly, it's that I don't know. I don't have the best visual what's the right word? Like, I don't form super strong pictures in my head. I'm good at abstract relationships, but like actual imagining something visual that's being described to me is a little bit of a trouble. So yeah, if we like were in this room on the bottom here, and we need to cut away, this is a totally feasible cutaway. It's fine, it's simple. I think it's pretty good. It retains the floors on the current level we're on. There might be some complication from like multi-level rooms and how those work, but I actually think this might be, I think we might err on the side of simplicity for now. I kind of like this sticking out a little bit, but I don't like the idea of having to deal with the corners, so I'm not sure. It is kind of nice to see that though. See it like jutting out from the wall, just so it's not totally flush with the wall. It's kind of nice to be able to see things stick out a little bit. Because yeah, we'd need see-through stuff for the floor anyway, so I guess it would make sense to do it for the floor. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like that. You know what? Let's do. Because I never throw anything away, let's turn our block bounds system back on. Set room bounds. Buffer read write AABB bounds. So we could just store a bounding box. We actually don't even need a bounding box. We could honestly just store a single coordinate. That's the minimum. But we might as well store the whole bounding box. Rhiannon, first thing you'll do when your game comes out is when my game comes out. First thing you'll do when my game comes out is you're gonna crack it and turn on all the old systems I left around to see how it feels. Yeah, you could do that probably. It's weird. I wasn't always a good, source control kind of person. So I got in this habit of like keeping old stuff around. But source control for me isn't the issue. I just like being able to toggle between different solutions really quickly. All right, so what do we want to do here? So we get our buffer, we get the rooms buffer. So we still need to calculate the rooms. Could we not do this in the flood fill? I guess this is easier. This is certainly simple. This is simple and it's view independent, which is also nice. All right, let's see about setting that back up. Say variable, we'll say room bounds buffer. Do I need to know the component? Oh, I do because I'm redeclaring it. So we also use the count for this. Yeah, and it makes sense, especially for streaming. Being able to work on a new version of the system and comment it out and turn on the old one is so nice. Yeah, I've realized that it's good content to be able to do that. It's really bad content for me to just sit here trying to explain what I'm trying to do verbally. So we're going to start with this. So why is it fine with this, but it's not fine with this? Oh, it's because I'm not setting it. I'm getting the... Shouldn't I set it first? Is it because this is a safe thing to do? I guess it is. I guess I don't need to do a get. I guess this is overkill. Yeah, it allows easy comparing of how something used to work versus how it does work. Yeah, I find myself doing that a lot. All right, so we like this room bounds buffer. Glad I didn't get rid of that. Set the room bounds. Buffer read write. Do we sync? Are we syncing? Now what we can do, which is kind of neat, is we can actually move the bounding box if we want. Again, we don't really need... You know what? You know what would be potentially neat? I'm trying to think about how I would do this. Now let's try it this way for now. So does this buffer still exist? So I don't actually have a buffer for this anymore. I gotta do that. So we gotta say game.orl.empty, add empty buffer component, room bounds buffer, preview blocks. Shenanigans, you just posted the Discord a quick example of you meant with the bounds. A bit more complex than just taking the max, but it would solve for weird shapes and allow full visibility. That's, I mean, I'm all for it. We'll take a look. Appreciate anyone spending any of their time thought hammering this stuff and what we could be doing. All right, let's take a look. To the Discord. This. Yeah, this is an issue. So for like our weird C-shaped room situation. This works. Well, would this work? Like, let's say the camera is at this corner and I look back. Could you not see this corner then? If there's something here. I could see this working. What I'm really interested in is for the rendering. Like, I would need to slice this up into like probably 3 pieces for the rendering, for it to render correctly. At least 2 pieces, but probably 3 pieces. We could honestly use subcompartments to have multiple sets of bounds too. We could actually cut away from multiple places. There's some stuff that we could do. Black is walls, red is bounds outline. Yeah. So the way we have it right now, this would just be a straight line along the right side, right? Like we wouldn't cut in here. This could be interesting. Cutting Arnold. Yeah, that'd be interesting to try. The reason why I keep trying to do something else, not than that, but then like just the full cutaway is like it cuts away so much of the ship. But I actually think it's okay. Because if you feel like you're cutting too much of the ship, you could always turn the ship around and then cut in from the other side. Can you make convex bounding boxes and then just mathematically add them together? But then I would just end up with one bounding box, right? I don't know what happens when you add bounding boxes together, but I assume you would just end up with a single bigger one. That's like just a bigger square or cube or whatever volume. Yeah, let's try this. So we're going to room bounds. So we're going to fill out our room bounds. We are going to, in the cutaway system, we'll make sure we are reading these variable room bounds. What is this? It's an AABB, right? What are the room bounds based on? That's what I thought they were. Add empty buffer component. Do we not need to know what the interior T flag is? Or if I look here, do you know what your type is? I assume you do. Yeah, UI buffer AABBs. Oh, so do I not need to do this? Oh, I definitely do. Oh, duh. Wouldn't it be potentially concave then, as you wouldn't min-max their coordinates? What, Nanigan's solution? I don't know. The only way I can visualize doing it right now is doing it individually by rooms, or to do just a single enormous, just to expand along each axis from the maximum point. What we really would want is we'd want to keep that bounding box of like, we'd want to know what the bounding box is of the minimum point, not the maximum. We'd want to know from the minimum point of the room to the maximum point of the overall space. And we could do that's how we could do a lot of occlusion stuff of like, oh, this whole room is cut away, so don't even bother updating the canvas item. That could be neat. Strictly cursor-based cutaway might even be fine if you just make a decent bit larger buffer around the cursor. I don't want to do that either. There's like a very strong reason not to do that, because you don't want to have your cursor on a wall and then all of a sudden that very wall disappears. So like, it's a struggle. It's a struggle because we've had like a very open cutaways and we've had very narrow closed cutaways, and each one has issues. I think I should prefer the more open one because that gives you better situational awareness. And this is a real-time game, so situational awareness is actually like pretty important. If this was a turn-based game, I would say like, who cares? And the camera could just jump to whoever the next character that moves is. But because this is a real-time game, that's not really how it would happen. So what are we thinking of doing? We're thinking of doing a cutaway. We're thinking of doing a cutaway interior think we're gonna call it like cutaway interior rooms by bounding box. I don't know. Cutaway blocks by bounding box. We'll call it that for now. Private static void. Do I need to know what the rooms are? Yes, I do. Block rooms. Block rooms. And then I just need to know buffer read only. Room bounds. Oh, buffer only AABB. Room bounds. See you, Sapphire. Shenanigans. In that case, could you not just conditionally hide the walls depending on if they are further back from the camera than the cursor? Yeah. Yes. We could theoretically do this with just the cursor coords, which is currently how we approach it with the cutaway exterior. Like, this version, this one. This version literally just says, like, where's the mouse cursor? Okay, go through the whole volume and just cut away, starting at the mouse cursor and working our way towards the camera. Just cut out everything. That's currently what we're doing. And I like that. I just think I like your idea of also jumping to the nearest compartment size bounds. Like, instead of just only doing the cursor coordinate, jump to the minimum point for a given room. I think we're gonna try that. I still think that cuts away too much of the ship, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Have a good weekend, Sapphire. Hopefully I see you tomorrow. I'd hate for you to lose a stream streak. All right, so let's do this. Let's do it this way. We'll still get our cursor coordinates. Excuse me. I guess we'll add the safety check. Why not? Yeah, you meant the version you have where it's just a small area around the cursor, but make that area bigger, but exclude cutting any walls that are behind the cursor. Yeah. How he avoids the issue of disappearing something you were trying to react to. Yeah. It's going to be tough. I feel like this is definitely an area where you can imagine how it would work. But I think this is such a key game feel thing. I think I just want to try. I think I want to try all of this. I want to try as much of this stuff as possible. Just to see what it's like. Do I want to check everything instead of just Z? Isn't that what we're doing up here? We have like a... Yeah, if any of them. We also have a thing, which is neat. If we do it this way. Well, no, not necessarily. We could also change a little bit about the way that we track rooms. Like right now, we keep track of what rooms a quote unquote wall belongs to. Like if we have a wall piece and there's like empty space on each side, we keep track of like what rooms. We don't keep track of where, but we're like, okay, this wall belongs to the room in front of it and the room behind it. It would be cool if we got rid of that requirement. It would be kind of okay if instead what you did is you just assigned a number to only the quote unquote empty blocks, the blocks that like weren't forming barriers. Because then we could do things like we wouldn't be limited to the number of rooms that is the maximum value that our bit field can handle, right? Like we could unlock that, which would be neat, and which I am kind of tempted to try. I'm tempted. Don't tempt me because I'm already tempted. Because before, the reason why a wall would know what room it belonged to is we didn't have this face detection. Like we didn't know what face we were clicking on when we were moused over a block. We didn't have that information. So the block would need to know like what rooms it could be, and we would then figure it out. I guess we didn't technically need to do it that way either. Hey, Mr. Magoo, how's it going? But yeah, I think there's some options we have here. There's some neat options. How's it going? How's it going, Magoo? How's OS dev? All right, so what we're gonna do here, just to keep things super simple. Ooh, I'm tempted to like change a bunch of stuff and then try this, but we should probably try it without changing very much first. That would probably be wise. Yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say for variable x equals... Actually, what we want to do is we want to identify a block room. We're going to say block rooms equals block rooms dot get. Say dot get absolute. Cursor chords. We're just going to use the first one. We're going to say int room index equals rooms dot first. We're just going to get the first one. Oh, I don't want the link. Don't give me the link code. Why did it suggest that was a link? It's my own. I made this, right? Oh no, this is like... Ew. No, get rid of that. No link. Does that not work? Oh, yeah, I can't do that. Right. Whatever. Here, whatever. Who cares? We'll do it like this. We're going to expect a single room for each of these, but I can't presume that, so we're not going to worry about it. Now we'll say x equals cursor coords dot x plus 1. You spent some time playing your guitar today? That sounds cool, Nix. Let's say block.space.maximum. We'll say x plus plus. Actually, we'll say x is less than block.space.maximum. X plus plus. So we're just going to do a very simple iteration here. It's not pretty nor efficient. We're just going to do it. I want to try a bunch of stuff, and I want to try it quickly. And I don't want to make too many... Interesting. There's a hotkey there that I didn't know existed. Oh my god. Your cat names are crazy. Very creative. Did it always have that name, your other cat, or did it earn it? Did that name have to be earned? All right, so what we're going to do... So what we do want, actually, is we want this AABB, right? AABB bounds equals room bounds room. Actually, we're not going to iterate from this, are we? We're going to iterate from bounds dot minimum dot x plus 1. It's not exactly what I want, but this is close to what I want. And we'll just do this part. Do I need to know about the halls? I don't think I arguably need to. Honestly, the fact that I'm doing this individually is quite silly. I guess it's because of this bit mask. I actually don't need to do a hall check. I think it's totally reasonable to just do it like this. We could honestly set a bounds point and actually have a much simpler check than doing it with this bit mask thing. But, you know, I'm going to do it like this for the moment, just because it's compatible with what we were already doing. Name is Luna. Okay. A much more reasonable name. Your old cats, the two of them, you called, there was the smart fella and the fart smella. That's funny. That's funny. All right, we're going to try it this way. We're going to try this. This is so inefficient. Rhiannon, you have Penny, Rosie, and Fiona. They each have 100 different nicknames. I think that's fair. That's fair. I think you can call a cat whatever you want, because, like, they don't usually respond to their name anyway, right? All right, so we need block cuts. We need block rooms. And we need room bounds. Song feels kind of loud. All right, here we go. Let's see what this does. If the answer is crash, I will kind of understand. Because I put very little effort into this. Interesting. Interesting. That's definitely not what should be happening, but okay. They're dogs. Right. I'm not playing favorites, but, you know, dogs are definitely better than cats. Okay, why didn't that work at all? Cursor chords. Cursor chords dot any equals return. Rooms equals block rooms dot get absolute cursor chords. For each in rooms. Bounds equals room bounds room. Oh, are we maybe not syncing these back? That's what's happening. We're not syncing anything. Although that shouldn't have created the behavior that we were seeing. So we're just going to copy this here. I don't think I need to do it this way, but I'm going to do it this way. You heard me. You heard me, Lego. Oh, you had a cat named Polyphemus? I like that. Polyphemus is a bit of a minor legend in this house. I would like a pet. No, my partner would for sure. The whole this whole threatened RTO mandate at my work kind of, not that I'm saying I was making moves to like get an animal like immediately, but like I was thinking about it. But it would be too cruel. What's going on? Oh, no, I'm not supposed to have buffer comp in here. It'd be too cruel to get them and then immediately at some point start, you know, going to an office 3 days a week or whatever. Okay. All right, the sink should work now. Our leaky sink. All right, hold on to your ads, people. We're heading into some Amazon ads here. All right, now what's going on? Hey, that's close to what I want. Not exactly, but close. Okay, what about our C-shaped case? I almost want to do an even weirder version of the C shape. Whatever, who cares? Hey, ship it. Thanks for thinking about that. Animal shelters were overwhelmed after people got them during COVID quarantines and realized they didn't fit their lifestyle. Yeah, that's horrible. That's not quite as bad as everyone who got like a husky during like Game of Thrones or a Malamute and then realized that they couldn't have a husky or a Malamute. So here's that, and then this one is... This is kind of hard to... Why isn't that normally triggering? It's probably because I can't see my cursor for some reason. Ah. All right, I think I can make this approach work. I think I can be down with this. It's not perfect, but like that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be good. What we do need to do is we need to get the cutaway model to like respect the not the cutaway model. We need to get a... Oh, I didn't finish that. Yeah, who cares? We need to get the cursor mapping model to take that into consideration. So this needs to consider the cutaway. And it doesn't. But it needs to, and it will. It's like spontaneous, horrible back pain is still with me. Which reminds me, I should probably go take some ibuprofen. I'm going to do that during the last 30 seconds of this ad break here. Be right back. Give it up for chair. All right, thanks for holding it down, chair. All right, so I realize this actually needs to be a little more complicated than what I'm giving it credit for. What we actually need to do is we need to take a boundary, we need to move it. We're going to do some weird stuff here. Here, we're gonna make one. We're gonna call it like over. It's gonna be bounds dot move vector 3i dot 1. We'll make another one called under. This will be negative vector 3i dot 1. All right, and then so this is going to be over. So we're going to say if not under dot contains this, how many parentheses do we need? The answer is more, always more. Okay, we're going to try to do a little trick here because I'm remembering that we don't want to cut away the interior contents of the room. We just want to cut away the outside. And again, this is going to work really poorly. Imagine if you have a room that has like a domed ceiling or something like that. Like there's definitely some design choices that one could make when building a ship that will work really badly with this system. Why can't we do this? Negative 33 to negative 151. What is happening? What did I ask this thing to do? Bounds.move. Well, how does move work? It just adds the coordinates. So why are you freaking out about that? Oh, you know what's maybe needs to happen is I need to do some kind of check. I don't know how we got to negative 151 though. Okay, yeah, that was weird. That was like a weird startup error. But yeah, there's a missing safety check somewhere. It's fine. Safety first. All right, let's see how this works. See if this kind of does what I want it to do. Do kind of an unusual. Make multiple partitions here. This is when I get deja vu because like I feel like we spent so much time on this already. But it's like each time it's a little different. Okay, kind of what I want. I mean, this is reasonable. This is one of those like probably good enough for now kind of things. Honestly, the thing we need to fix is the auto tiler. The auto tiler doesn't know what to do for this. All right, what if we add some more rooms up top? This kind of falls apart when if you've got like rooms at different heights and stuff like I was describing, but again, I don't know if I really am concerned about that right now. I feel like there's other tasks that we could be struggling with right now. Okay, I kind of like the jutting out from the wall thing. Kind of.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
don't think it's great, but I think it's okay. And the reason we're doing things this way, so like this way, doing it this way, I can still see things inside the room, right? Because we're not actually cutting away the interior contents of the room. Because we're doing this overlap. And you can still see stuff in the corner. So we just would need a partial outline if something's like nestled into a corner. I'm okay with that. And if we go down here, now you see that we're cutting away up and over. I think this is fine. I think there's still the same reason I don't like this, which is that I feel like it cuts away too much. But I think I can live with this just because of its simplicity. And it also eliminates some hard limits around compartment hierarchy numbers and stuff. Like doing it this way, we don't actually need to maintain flags for rooms. Like we can assign an ID to a room, but it's just a number. It's not like a flag in a bit field. It's just like a specific ID. And we can actually do a lot of stuff with that. But yeah, I think this is all right. Nanigans, ship it. Yeah, I agree. I think we have bigger fish to fry over finding like a better solution to this. If we were to like try some weird shapes, it would probably be mostly fine. Like let's do the famous one room within a room thing. Like this would be interesting. What if we have a room inside a room? I don't think the system will actually be able to handle this very well. So that's fine. But what if we do this? Hey, Arneo. Damn, it's looking good. I'm back at you. The stuff you've been posting to Discord has been looking great. Yeah, I think we've settled on something. All right, Rhiannon, you like this version. You agree with the previous statement that cutting away too much is preferable to not enough. Yeah. If we have to do one or the other. So here's an interesting problem is this case. We actually can't handle this case very well with just a bounding box cutaway. So this is a fun, weird case. But we can solve this case, and I think I have an idea for how to do that. Can you just do the cursor based in addition to what you're currently doing? Yep. That's what I was thinking. The only real question is whether we constrain it. Isn't that what you used to do? Yeah. Yeah. That way, in cases like this one, if you move your cursor behind the wall, it would clear it. Yes. So we actually have a function that does literally that, and it only works inside of a room. That's this cutaway interior blocks by cursor chords. So this only, in theory, cutaway bounds, new bounds, plus xy times 4. Oh yeah, this is old. We'll rewrite this. This is like crazy old. But yeah, we're gonna do something similar. We're gonna limit that cutaway to be only should be only within the given room under consideration. So that way, like, we could see through that sealed room inside the other room, but it wouldn't just, like, do the whole ship. There's been so many implementations of this, you forgot everything that's been done and hasn't. I know. Me too sometimes. All right, we're just going to gut this and rewrite this. What do we need to know for this? Actually, could we add that check to here? Cut away interior blocks by bounding box. So if not under... Right now I've called them over and under, but that's not exactly the right thing. And in fact, we don't even have to do... Well, we do have to do it like this. It's less than that. Not under contains... We actually want the non-overlapping. Actually, how do we do this? How do we do this this way? Yeah, so we do need to do... This does need to be done in a separate step because it's coordinate-based. Maybe? How do I want to do this? We're already iterating through every coordinate. This is simple. Yeah, whatever. We'll do it in a separate pass just because that's easier. So we actually want to do, we'll say this. Hey, welcome back. That sounds like a very cuddly cat, especially for a rescue. All right, and so the way we're going to do this... I actually kind of want to do it as part of this function. Kind of. So if not under contains, right, we cut it out. Unless, there's a very specific unless. Here, we can say if not under contains, or we can say or. Let's make this vector. We're going to say or block coords dot all greater than cursor coords. I just need to expand this functionality to include I should have just done this the other day. Greater than another Oops. And next, you mean she's 9 months old, spent her whole life in a mid-sized room? Yeah. Arneo, your folks' cat's not a people person. Yeah, that is all kinds, right? All kinds. Nanigans, you find yourself getting annoyed with C-Sharp's way of doing inheritance, etc. You want either simple duck typing or you want multiple inheritance. There's, of course, interfaces, but makes conceptually simple things are trying to do much more annoying. Oh, yeah, I have a complicated relationship with interfaces. I end up making a ton of different structs that all generally follow the same rule, but don't strictly because I don't want to bother with the whole instrument. Actually, I'm worse about it with classes. Yeah, I have a hard time with that too. I get annoyed. The best workaround you've got right now is instead passing what you want as a class that is assigned to a property. Emits signals that containing class can listen to. Oh, interesting. Yeah, for me, it's more about structs. Because like if I didn't want everything I did to be a struct, I probably would be using GDScript. Or like if I didn't have such strong opinions about using structs versus classes. That's like part of the joy of doing it this way. Rhiannon, you've gotten really used to PHP traits and you miss them in C#. Arneo, you're not much of a people person either. Oh no, you're not much of a pet person either. Okay. I'm not much of a people person, so I get it. When I see a cat that's like standoffish and stuff, I'm like, I see you. Cats love me though. Cats have this like weird psychic ability where they can tell who's allergic to them. Like they can tell who the people are that don't want to be near them, and those are the people they choose, usually. It's rather funny. So if it's not under here, so we know it's part of this, but it's not this unless it's this. Set. Does it need to be all or is any okay? No, it should be all, I think. Let's try this. Let's try this. We're doing this in one go. We don't have a separate function to do it, and I think I like that. All right, we're going to try a few different cases here. Our test case is like really naive because like all the like walls are aligned and shit. But that's okay. Yeah, I really want the cutaway system. Or not the cutaway. I want the cursor mapping system to respect the cutaway. So if we're cutting this stuff away, I really want to be able to cursor over it. But the system doesn't really understand that yet. Emphasis on yet. The system also doesn't super work if we're in exterior. We also need to do just straight up exterior cutaways, I'm realizing. Which we aren't doing. Ugh, I put it in the wrong spot. Cat tax incoming, nice. Nanigans, you can't say you've ever touched traits in PHP. You tend to use it a lot more procedurally. But yes, how PHP does traits would solve exactly what you need right now. Have you considered rewriting your game in PHP? All right, so now, so this looks identical. This should behave pretty much the same. Oh, what's happening here? So sometimes this is being erased and sometimes it's not, which is curious. Oh, is it? I'm just getting close to this wall. Right. How do we get that to not happen? Do we need like an exception? Maybe we need to make an exception for the cursor. All right, let's test the case I actually want to test here. Which is our like weird room within a room situation. Which is a good proxy for testing things like corridors and stuff, like winding corridors. This is going to be a pain in the butt to figure out how the rendering, the canvas item rendering is going to work for this sort of situation. Oh my god. There we go. I have a slight problem back here. I can't actually cursor. I messed this up. Okay, here. I know how to do this. There we go. All right, so now if we're in here, we just got to give the flood fill a second to figure it out. There we go. So if we're in here, we're fine. If we're out here, we're fine. If we're behind this, nothing happened. Oh, because this isn't part of a room. Interesting. Yeah, we need this system to care less about whether it's in a room or not. Which is a good argument for having it being a separate process. Okay, so we can cut away this. This room doesn't really go anywhere. Okay, so here we go. So we've got our neat room-based thing. And then if we have an actual obstacle in front of the cursor, we push it away. All right, I think this is a happy medium. A happy middle ground here. This is weird, what's happening right here with the auto tiler. That really shouldn't be happening, whatever's going on there. Okay. Figure that out. But yeah, I think this is good. I think I can work with this. The thing is, we need this to engage whether or not we're in like a sealed compartment. So, because if I open this ceiling up in a second, it won't do the cutaway anymore. Yeah, because it doesn't think we're in a room. We have a way around that. The way around that is going to be this. So we're going to switch to this. Room bounds. Do I also want to do this, though? Should I just also have this in effect? Should we just do both, generally? Would that just be easier? Probably. Here, let's try doing it this way instead of doing it like this. Nanigans, listen, you know you've made some questionable choices in how you do things in your game multiple times over, but you're not a sadist. Yeah. The joke is that, you know. How many languages are involved in your project? I say, sitting, looking, leaning, looming over from my C#. Yeah, I'm joking. I like TypeScript. I don't have anything against TypeScript. It's like if JavaScript sucked less. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think it fixes most of the core problems of JavaScript, but right now, just C#. Oh yeah, you're going to be adding Lua. That's right. That's right. That's pretty neat. I'm pretty tempted to try something like that too. Because some people are going to want some kind of functionality thing, but I don't even want to think about doing anything like that. Get rid of this. I don't think I need to distinguish between interior and exterior, but whatever. Next to ad breaks, you have 2 new cat taxes to watch. Oh, okay. Shenanigans. You guess technically you might be adding some SQL. Using SQLite for most of your game state, if you count JSON as a language. I don't know if I count JSON as a language. It's a good point. I don't think I do. All right. So now if I do this, so yeah, now we get just arbitrary cutaways back. It doesn't quite work the way that I want it to. And in fact, I think this version of the cutaway actually needs to be a little more extreme. We'll see. All right, let's try that weird interior room thing again. So I think that's a good test. Okay, so now we get our exterior, our kind of arbitrary. So we get this interior. It's nice. But we also, if we go out here, we also get this. So we get both, which is neat. The only real question is like, what if I start putting things in here? Like, what if, let's just make some pillars. They're like interior room details. Doesn't really matter where they are or what they are. So we can do our full cutaway like this. Everything's fine. Let's seal this room up and see how these systems interact with each other. That was weird for a second. Next, I think it's a great idea. You could make a pet tax channel during ad breaks. Dave can show them off. You drop a link to the Discord. Anyone who doesn't have a sub can join and watch the pets. Oh. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so we've got this. We've got this. And then we've also got within a room, we've got a more precise. So if you try to like cursor behind something, it'll clear that obstacle as well, whether it's in the room or it's like outside the room. Yeah, I think this works. I think we're reasonably happy with this. I think this is a reasonable compromise. I still think it's probably like erasing too much of the ship, but yeah, I'm gonna live with it. I always want like a kind of Wes Anderson kind of look to the ship cutaways. So more is, I guess, not worse, because you'll see more cross sections of more compartments this way, and I think it'll look neat. Like, I always think about the cutaway for like the boat from like the Life Aquatic, whatever its name was. I don't see any good pictures of the cutaway. But Wes Anderson's always been very known for those sets, those nice little cutaway sets. And that's definitely the kind of vibe we're going for, but we're doing more of an isometric thing. Motivate you to post more pet tags to immortalize your pets. Make people want to join the Discord. Yeah. I'll probably make like a share. I wanna rethink how I organize stuff in the Discord channel wise. I will take it under consideration. All right, so we don't do this cutaway rooms thing anymore. I'm trying to think if there's any reason I want to leave this infrastructure in place with the rooms with the bit fields and stuff. I don't want to do it. And in fact, I want to do another kind of ID system, but I don't really want to make them right now, so we're not going to mess around with it. For now, this seems okay. And in fact, setting these as like flags is kind of inefficient. I can almost apply an entire bounding box instead. I guess I can't quite with this part. Yeah, whatever. Let's not worry about it. Let's not worry about it too much. What are we gonna do next? Oh, excuse me. What else can we work on that's like cutaway related? I mean, I guess I could clean up the stuff I was talking about and try to figure out a safer dependency chain for setting and reading this stuff, for writing and writing it. So you don't actually need to do this cutaway rooms thing anymore. Yeah, I actually kind of want to update the flood fill so that we don't actually... Here's kind of what I want to do. I talked about it a little earlier. And I said, you know, the walls currently know which compartments they are adjacent to, like what compartments they separate. I'm thinking about not doing that anymore. So that all we really track are the interior, quote unquote, empty blocks, like the blocks that make up the interior of the compartment. I actually kind of want compartments to be kind of their own thing. I kind of want to make a compartment like more of a first-class citizen, as they say, because the compartment, it controls a lot. The compartment is going to be an entity for drawing, for rendering, because it's the canvas item. There's going to be a canvas item per compartment. A block can belong or not belong to a compartment. Yeah, I want to do a lot of stuff with that. So I think I want to update the flood filling. So maybe we will change a bunch of the stuff here. Like maybe we'll get rid of the idea of the cutaway rooms or the block rooms or whatever. The only real question is if there will be like sub compartments or something for rendering. I think there will have to be for reasons we were discussing earlier. But right now, let's maybe do this instead. So let's maybe get rid of this concept here. The easiest thing to do would be to just straight up delete this component. Because yeah, I don't like the inherent limitation that we currently have, especially if we don't need it. Let's go back. Let's do this line by line instead of just breaking everything. So we will still need some kind of block room thing. It can't be a bit mask. It would have to be a buffer 3D. But instead of a block room, it would probably just be an int. Eventually we could have like a compartment ID or something, but for now I think we just go with an int. And then walls won't belong to any particular room. And I think this is good. I think this will work okay. So instead of a block rooms buffer, we need to change some of this stuff. You're a bounding box? Block rooms buffer 3D AABB. Oh no, of course you're a bounding box. I'm going to make a copy of this. But it's going to be a singular room buffer. And then I'm going to delete this. All right, refactoring through error printing. That's like the way I like doing it. Just like have the compiler yell at me. There's like 100 errors or something. All right, so you got a room buffer 3D. It has a bounding box because it has a size. It does not do this anymore. Now it's just an int. What does it need to do? This. What does this need to implement? T. Buffer 3D read only T. 4 implementations. Oh, is it because you still need an A? No, you have an AAB. What do you want me to implement? What are you complaining about? Get used bounds. Huh? Oh. I see. There we go. Right. Should be fine. Buffer.span_i.hasAny. Instead, we would say buffer.span_i is greater than 0. Actually, if it's less than or equal to 0. Yeah, so instead we're going to have like an ID. We'll have a room ID sort of deal. Right now it's just going to be a number, but eventually it'll probably be like associated with an entity or something. compartmentalize. So you'll take the halls, the bounds, and the rooms. This is an int. And then in here, we're not going to mess around with any kind of flags. Actually, whose job is this? Oh, it's this. So we can get rid of this partition count error, which is good. I don't like that. I don't like inherent limitations like that. Especially if you're like, okay, in a 64 by 64 by 64 volume, you're only allowed 64 discrete partitions. It's like, I could easily see us exceeding that. Not like for good reason, but for stupid reasons. All right, now we're going to flood fill the inner space. Do I actually need to know the partition count? Yeah, I guess I do. And all we're going to do is specify that. We're going to say rooms.span. We can just say rooms. Can we just say rooms.set? Yeah, we can. It doesn't take a index though for some reason. You can say set coords, room index. Why is it like this, though? Why are we doing it like this? While stack is greater than if hulls.has coords. Oh, we set it and then we continue. We don't do any neighbor checking. Actually, are we just going to continue? Yes. Yes. This is going to become just a continue. Because we're specifically trying not to... Now, we're going to consider a wall like a kind of void. Like, it's not going to be considered part of the compartment. That is going to actually cause us some serious pain if I actually go through with this, now that I think about it. Because how do you handle a door? Because a door is sometimes sealed, it's sometimes open. It kind of arguably belongs to both rooms. I guess if it's sealed, we'd consider it like this. And if it's open... As always, doors. The door is part of the wall now. Yeah, Nick, so that's the problem for me in my thinking. Yeah, nanigans. And that number is the bounds area is pretty big. 64 by 64 is 4096. And 64 by 64 by 64 is like 250,000 something. It's like 260 something thousand. I don't know the specific number, but I know it's big. Just imagine that a door is actually two portals over a wall. One side belongs to room A and the other side belongs to room B. You know what we're probably going to do? We'll probably handle doors the same way we handle rooms. Or not rooms, walls. We'll just offset to whatever the foreground is. I think doors will be fine. I actually think I can handle doors now that I think about it a little bit. It's going to be a little weird, but I think it'll be okay. The only awkwardness is if you're like moused over an open door, it will consider the door to be part of the foreground room. So if you want to if you want to actually select through an open door, you'll have to scroll into it, which I think is actually fine because you would want the player to be able to select an open door because they might want to close it. So it actually makes sense that it would consume the input and you won't have some kind of weird pass-through situation. Doors, one of the famous headaches of game development. I know. It's like it's the idea that like a helicopter is just a special case of door. It's like a special kind of door. It's like, okay. Next, you should consume some input too. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Nick, that is kind of how we think about it. It's two portals over a wall. One side belongs to room A and the other side belongs to room B. And our cursor priority system is actually what tells us which side we're interested in. Should be fine. Input in the way of noodles. All right. Whatever works. Whatever works for you. All right. Let's continue gutting this. This is actually much simpler, and I'm very pleased with how simple this will hopefully be. What we need to do is clear this buffer, though. Are we actually doing that? Yeah, we are. Beautiful. Set, so compartmentalization is fine. Set room bounds needs to be updated. Set room bounds. Buffer 3D read only int buffer. So here what we do, we say variable I equals 0, bounds.span, length I, bounds.span I equals new ABB. Okay. For each set of coordinates in buffer.AABB, filled rooms equals buffer.getCoords. No, we don't say that. We can say int index. We can say room index. We can also say room ID. I guess room index and room ID are like virtually the same, but we'll say index right now because it's just a raw index. It's not like a fancy ID. Int room index equals, here we'll say if room index less than or equal to 0, continue. We don't need this for each. We can just say bounds.span room index. We can even just say index. Actually, we can say room. So bounds.span a room equals bounds.span a room.resize coords. Yes. Okay, so this should give us bounding boxes for the interior spaces of the rooms, which will be a little weird for irregularly sized rooms, but you know what? I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be good enough. We're not going to do any of this compartment hierarchy stuff anymore. I like the compartment hierarchy. I just don't want to do it. And I'm actually just going to straight up delete it. If we need to do this again, we can do it again. But I'm going to be good and I'm going to actually start eliminating obsolete systems. All right, that's all the issues here as far as I can tell. This is going away. Preview block rooms. These are becoming ints. These are becoming like this. So yeah, these don't exist anymore. Actually, they do exist. They're just slightly different. Int. I like this song. And then we're going to stop tracking the cutaway rooms. That's not a thing we're going to do. All right, where else do we got? Component types? Yeah, component types are going to be messed up. All right, where are we annoyed? We're annoyed here. What is annoying the compiler today? Excuse me. Okay. Block rooms, try get absolute cursor coords out. Int room. And we want to know that room is greater than 0 and room is greater than 0. And we cut away the interior blocks. Pass this in. This is a buffer of int. We don't need to do this for each room and room thing. I'm actually going to delete the block rooms struct because that's going to make it really clear. Where even is that? Where even does that struct live? In here? Yeah. Delete. There we go. All right, we're heading into ads in a minute here. I know we have some pet tax. We will get to it. I need to take a quick bio break. But when we're back, take a quick look. We'll pay the we'll pay the pet tax. But give me a couple of minutes. Give me a few minutes first. If you're lucky, we'll be back from ads and all of the non-subs can bio break allowed. Thanks, Nix. Appreciate it. BRB, thank you for spending part of your day here with me. Happy Friday, y'all. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. All right, as promised, we'll pay the pet tax. Oh, and I just opened Steam on accident. Well, everyone keep an eye out for my Steam username here. Steam, for some reason, takes about 20 seconds to open on this computer, and I don't understand why. There we go. All right, here's our cat tax. Nix, if you rickroll me with one of these. Oh, this is chilly. It looks like a kitten, so I assume yeah. Very cute. Looks like you're getting biscuits for dinner tonight. Yeah, exactly. It's cute when you see a little cat do that, but when you see like a puma or something do that, it's like terrifying. Oh, very cute. Yeah, your sofa is going to be absolutely wrecked. Very cute. It's wild that the only difference between little cats and big cats is the size, and little cats don't realize that. Yeah. Whoop. Very cute. Thank you. Thank you for that. Nanigans, you always had issues with Steam taking a moment to open. It's because it does a bunch of integrity checks and checks for updates before opening. Yeah, it's kind of fair, but it's also like weird. It's definitely gotten remarkably worse. All right, so what are we doing? We're cutting away. We're taking away this idea of this thing. We're going to say room. We're going to say int. We're going to get rid of this loop. We don't actually reference this. Can I just do it like this then? Okay, so this function totally is busted. All right, this is what I'll comment out for now. Combined rooms. I guess we can include that. I'll get rid of this code. Eventually. Not going to do it right now, though. I already deleted a bunch of code. Give me time. Give me time to adjust. All right, so this is clearing the block cutaways. Cutaway blocks. Why are you an entity? Like, why do we store you on your own entity? It seems weird. All right, there's one more error in one file. Where is it? Somewhere in the ECS component buffer. Cutaway rooms buffer. Cutaway rooms buffer. What are you upset about? Oh, block rooms don't exist. Well, then I'm going to get rid of you. And then that should break the component types, which is fine. We'll get rid of you. You're 13. I'll renumber the others. I need a way better organization method for my components. I really don't like how this works or how I've set this up. It's really a pain in the butt to change to change my components. Maybe we make a tool. Ignore the fact that like 90% of our components are buffers. Don't worry about it. I do think we are going to see some more entities. Like, I think an obvious entity is the compartment itself. Obviously, crew members are entities. I think there's just some interesting stuff. Rhiannon, something's wrong with your dodge code. Selecting the wrong direction animation, but not consistently. The wrong direction, but not consistently. Interesting. Love a bug that's inconsistent. That sounds really annoying, actually. All right, does this work now? Is everything work the way before? Do we have feature parity? If I run this, will it crash? Not yet. Not yet, it won't. This is going to be a stupid test, but we're going to do it. We're also going to get this cursor mapping to respect the cutaway. Because you'll notice that I can, like, head down this wall until I get in front of this wall. And then the cursor mapper is like, nah. But you should be able to just go straight down all the way to the ground. So the cursor mapper needs to be cutaway aware. That's probably the next thing we need to do. Although I think there's some issues with making it... making that happen. Again, we're heading towards some kind of like triple buffer system or something, or more stages, like barriers. Like maybe the right way to think of it is like system barriers, so we can make some more guarantees about what data is done being written to and is safe to read. Okay, we're not getting any kind of... Okay, this is a problem. This isn't actually working the way that I thought it would. Unless the flood fill system just is still working. No, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Huh. Okay, this doesn't quite work yet. You think it has something to do with the camera forward for the basis of choosing the movement direction instead of the character forward? They should be the same, but you do allow the camera to rotate if there is no movement. It seems to be happening only after you do that. That sounds consistent. All right, so we're not getting any kind of compartment-based cutaway right now, which is telling me that there's no value being assigned to the room flag. Or to the room ID, whatever. We're not getting a room ID. That's my assumption. Let's go test that assumption. Excuse me. My coffee dead? Smells like coffee. It's almost room temperature. It's so close. It's just got that slight... It's like a few degrees above room temperature. That's not pleasant. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. Alright, so I don't think we're getting any values for this room buffer. I don't think the flood fill is doing its job. So we're clearing it, we're compartmentalizing, we're setting up bounds. Bounds.volume is less than or equal to 1, count is 0 and return. Oh, excuse me. Variable partition count. Convert into a constant. Oh, this is never getting iterated for some reason. Why? What did I do? Oh, the partition plus plus. Oh, I'm so dumb. Also, why do we flood fill? We go partition count -1. Is it because of indexing? We're not going to do that anymore. I know that. So this will be partition count. This will be plus plus partition count. Well, that's dumb and obvious. Doesn't happen every time you do that, though. At least you know what you're going to be working on tonight. Maybe it's like if you rotate into like a positive view, it doesn't happen. But if you rotate into a negative one, it does or something. Maybe there's like a sign problem there somewhere. I still haven't sorted out my camera rotation stuff. I put no effort into it, but I hate it so much that I just don't do it. I'll rename this to be room ID. I'm on team lowercase d whenever you write out ID. Camera rotation came almost for free with yours. All right. All right. Somebody's making a 3D game. All right, this should work now. All right, this should work now. Now that we're actually iterating the partition count, we should be able to get something. Let's do a quick test. Not go crazy. So exterior cutaway working fine. Again, not up until the point we start doing cursor mapping. And if I do this, crash. All right, what do we got? What do we got? Hit me. Index was outside of the bounds of the array. Chords 34, 36, 1. Room equals 1. Oh, you know what's maybe happening? What's the size of this buffer? Length 200. Oh, right. Wait. What's happening right now? What are we out of bounds on? The bounds or the... Oh. The bounds. What's the length of this? Length 1. Okay, this is an off by 1 error. I know what we do with this. I know what we do with this. I know how we fix this. Don't worry. Nix, you're such a big dummy. I am sorry I said that in the second person. I don't believe it. I'm doing the confusing thing of trying to read chat as if I'm reading someone else's spoken word, which is hard. You've been having problems with the black box that is Project Zomboid, specifically how you can determine the object orientation, scale, transform for each of the models while they're in the VBO but not rendered in game. You're having so much problem coming up with a solution that somehow the most easiest of them all you skipped. Exporting. You can export the models. Oh. You can export the models. Oh, so you're just like... This is at like design time, or while you're working on it, you're having an issue with that. Yeah. I hope that works. Nanigans, you're actually getting into a bit of architectural design paralysis as you just don't like the C# way of doing some of this stuff. Not enough that you're going to switch to a new language, but enough that you're thoroughly annoyed. I don't know. Interfaces are fine. And if you use interfaces and you're using them with classes, you don't even have to, you're not even worried about boxing or anything like that. Which for me, that's why I hate interfaces. It's not like I hate interfaces, it's just like I have to be thoughtful when I'm doing interfaces for my structs. Make sure everything's set up. But yeah, I could see that being annoying. I always end up falling into the hole when I'm doing a game jam in Godot where I end up doing like multiple inheritance. Or I'm doing like nested inheritance, like, because that's what Godot is easy with, right? Godot's naturally it's easy where you're like custom class extends base class, other custom class extends custom class, like, and I end up getting these deep class hierarchies and I hate it so much, but it's so easy to just accidentally do it when you're in GDScript. Well, we're gonna try to do better next week. We'll try to do like proper, not interfaces obviously, but maybe we can do better compositional stuff. So I really don't do a lot of composition with my node structures, and I should. I just get lazy. Jams are a rough spot to be criticizing hierarchies and architecture and stuff, because it's like whatever we'll do, we'll do. So what do we do here? So we are... The first thing we do is we clear this, right? Correct. Rooms, bounds, buffer comp. Set. If count is greater than 0. Well, we also want to clear this too, don't we? Variable room bounds equals new buffer 3D read write int set buffer component. Doesn't set buffer component return a buffer component? The reason you're not letting me do this. Room bounds buffer. Is a room bounds buffer really a bound? Oh no, of course it is. I'm dumb. AABB. That didn't do anything. I do need another parentheses though. Argument. Room bounds buffer is not assignable to type. iBuffer component. iBuffer 2D component. di.aabb. Why are you a 2D? What's happened here? What's happened with this buffer? You're just a regular iBuffer. Why are you... Okay. Oh. Windows would like to do some device setup. They're like, is this a good time for you? It's like get out windows. All right, we're going to clear this too. So I think that's correct. Count, shouldn't it be count plus 1 maybe? Maybe. Nix, working on your mod, you had a problem where a lot of the modded clothings were not set up properly, the wrong orientation, the wrong scale, etc. It can happen at different steps, as most models are set up with different steps. The problem is when you're intercepting the model. Project Zomboid does not fix them to be uniform yet. So your code works for some models, but not others. Ooh. Rhiannon, you try to stick to one level of inheritance. Yeah, that's definitely simplifies the problem. Nanigans, you're basically trying to mostly only inherit from Godot things as needed. Yeah. I don't know. I like interfaces. I don't use them as much as I should because they're confusing, but I definitely should be. I have like all of these systems that are sealed classes. These don't inherit from anything, and they also don't implement anything. So it's just like a presumption that they all have like ready and run functions and stuff. And it's like they should be set up as like a base class with a base class, or they should be set up as an interface. I should do something, but I don't because I'm lazy. And I will pay for that. I will pay for that laziness. Someday, but not today. All right, so now what do we think is happening? This is the buffer of the rooms. What I really want, so we clear, and then what I want to do is I want to say, so room bounds, I want this to be count plus 1. Room bounds not clear. And I want to say room bounds 0 equals block dot space dot. Actually, it's just block space. And we'll say if count is greater than 0, we'll set room bounds. And then this part, I'm already clearing this, so. What is the difference between a default? I actually don't think I need to do this. But I probably do, but I'm not going to. I think I need to explicitly declare a new AABB. But we'll see. We'll see if default works for us. And then we'll say for each coordinates in the buffer. We'll say room, int room equals buffer dot get coords. If room is greater than or equal to, is less than or equal to 0, continue. You know what? I could actually do, we actually don't need to do this part that I'm saying up here. I don't actually need to do that, but I should clear it. Clearing might not work, but we're going to try it. Room equals buffer dot get. If room is less than or equal to 0, continue. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to say bounds dot span room equals bounds dot span room dot resize coords. Those are already absolute, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, hit me with another error. Show me the error. I dare you. I dare you to crash out with an error. And again, so you have your map grid and tile grid, both of which are derived from your editable grid. Extending that gives you a few quirks, gets you on the path of deeply nested inheritance. If you do interfaces, there is a lot of code you'll need to replicate, which is brittle. If you do reveal child property in a composition sort of way, you have an awful lot of repetitive prop drilling and bidirectional communication, which you can see becoming a headache further down the line. I think you just need to rethink the structure a little bit. Yeah, that sort of thing kind of happens. That's one of the, like, ECS is not a great architecture, in my opinion. Like, oh, what in the what? All right, we need to resize some things. I actually kind of understand what's happening. I said kind of, but I kind of understand what's happening. Yeah, ECS is gross, but it's like it sets your expectation that there's going to be a lot of boilerplate. It just like gets you in the headspace of accepting the boilerplate. All right, so this is weird, but that's because I think we're resizing. I think we're not accounting for the new size of the bounding boxes because the bounding boxes are smaller now. There's also the glitch in the appearance is because of something else. It's because of the hack that I'm using to like look inside this structure. But yeah, so what's the problem? Is it's like too small. Let's see about that. Arnio, you think you have 3 classes now, but 2 are kind of pointless. You just made them to practice making classes. Redux project, you may actually plan the data structures. So you have 1 class. Yeah, I have very different approaches. My game jam approach is just like do what works and don't think about it. And then this is like I almost overthink my architecture for this one. So I think this is fine. I don't think we actually have a problem with this. I think the problem is, so now that we don't include the walls anymore in the bounding boxes, so all of the bounding boxes are smaller now. And I think we need to account for that in the cutaway. I think we're taking some shortcuts. I think we'll get this out of the way and we'll be pretty happy with our progress for today. This week hasn't been bad. We've been doing a lot this week. All right, so I think the problem right now... I think you're just going to log off for now, play some eugenics, give everything a look over with a fresh set of eyes later. That's a good idea. Enjoy your eugenics. Have a good weekend. Yeah, thanks. Take it easy, Nanigans. We probably got another 20, 30 minutes here. We'll wrap up a few more things. And we'll probably call it. All right, so here we're doing this +1. We're +1ing things, which I don't think we need to do anymore. Maybe we do. Actually, if we just move... If we do the thing where we move the bounding box, I don't think we need to also do this. Oh, this is the wrong function. This is what we want. So over is it move, we move it up and we move it down, we move that one back. So what if we do this instead of that thing? Rhiannon, you only need one big class that can do everything. Perhaps an enum that you pass in the constructor to tell the instantiated object what kind of object it is, and then lots of if statements everywhere. You joke, but most people, some people that I've talked to about like my ECS and stuff, and they're good programmers. These are like good programmers I'm talking about. Most of them are like, man, I would never do an ECS. Like, I just make one big struct that has like all the values that I might need. And then that's just the thing. That's just anything that I'm talking about is one of these. And it's like, yeah, that's a good way to, it's like the giant struct approach, the monolithic struct approach. And like, it's fine. Most of the time it's fine. Like just hard coding all of the characteristics you would need for any possible reason. Like all of this architecture stuff, you can get pretty far without engaging with any of it. You know what? I want to turn the exterior cutaway off right now because I want to kind of see what this other one is doing. Nix, you posted on Discord your problem is it's silly. Like you already solved for the scaling issue only through pure black box trial and tribulation. Yeah, so what are you doing instead? You're like re-importing the assets yourself. I'll check out the Discord in a bit. Okay. This is close, but not quite. It's too low, for one thing. And it's too far in for another. So let me visualize this bounding box. The bounding box is the interior space of the room, not the walls. So actually under doesn't need to move back. Let's try this. We'll call this interior. And we'll call this exterior. And then as long as the interior doesn't contain... All right, let's try this. In short, that's what you're doing. You're being big minis. It's like taking candy from a baby, except it's mesh data and from the VBO. Then you sprinkle in your morphs and give the upgraded mesh back to the VBO. That's cool. That sounds like a cool solution because it sounds like something that where you can like handle any other data that like another mod is like passing into you, like any other model data. It sounds like a lot of work though. All right, we'll give it a second to think. Okay, this is closer to what I want. It's not quite there yet. What if I make some more rooms? Now it'll update and it'll switch to just this, right? Oh, why is it doing this? What is going on here? That doesn't seem right. It's not exactly what I want. How's this work? Well, I definitely want the floor to be a little higher. Okay, so what I actually want to do, we say interior, room bounds, block rooms, take it absolute critical wards. Interior dot move vector 3i dot 1. So that goes up and over, and that's fine. That's also what we want. And we say exterior x equals exterior dot minimum dot x, y equals exterior dot minimum dot y, z equals exterior dot minimum dot z. If not, interior dot contains this coordinate block cuts dot set new vector 3i. I don't quite understand why it's working this way. That's fine. That's my life. Nix, everything flows through your mods, base game, other things. Cool. There's 2 modes in Project Zomboids. Are you a car? Are you clothing? That's it, right? That's all. That's life in America. Hey, Titan Rovo, Duck, how's it going? How are you doing? Yeah, the 2 building blocks of physical reality: clothing and cars. Rhiannon, how does... That's pretty funny, Rhiannon. Alright, we're going to give this a second to think about it, and we're going to try to understand why this is happening. It's doing the whole thing, which is concerning. Like, or sort of. It's like way overzealous. Don't mind the flickering. It's when we pass through these walls. It's a trick of the way the Z controller works, which I actually realize is going to be a problem. Titan, do you know what might have happened with your Godot? It's to completely stop printing your print statements. You feel like you might have hit a shortcut or something disables it. Oof. I don't, but that sounds like something that could totally happen. So that works. This kind of works. It's just, this is too aggressive. I don't know why this whole foreground set of walls is going away. It's not really what's supposed to be happening. All right, Godot. What's up, Godot? What's like an easy way that you can cause that to happen? Did you turn this off? Did you click on one of these? Oh, sorry, it's behind my face. One of these here in the output. Because if you turn one of the, if you click on one of these so that it's dark gray, you just don't get those statements anymore. And I don't remember which one's the, I guess it's probably this one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. That was just the first thing that I thought of, and it seemed like a good thing to mention. I can't think of another thing that would do that. But other than this, how's it going? I don't know how you would turn that off. Certainly don't know how you would turn that off on accident. Gotta run. All right, take it easy, Rhiannon. It's not even showing the Godot engine version 4.6 text at the top. Ooh. Yeah, that's super weird. That's a standard output message. You're not like filtering, are you? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I could guess random things that you've probably already checked. That's frustrating though. I don't know how I approach that. Are these servers initializing all right? I actually don't know what that does. Weird. Well, sorry about that. That's tough. I don't know how I would start. How do you debug the debugger? Key custodiate. Que custodiate ipsos custode. Who debugs the debugger? All right, I want to understand why this is working the way I think it's working. Is it maybe, was I maybe naive and the buffer initialization thing is actually like super important? Like if I turn this back on, does it just work now? I bet not, but it's something I want to check. There's a number of places this bug could be showing up from. You found it? Oh, sick. What was it? Oh, hey, we got it. Okay, so that initialization step is actually like super key. That's good to know. This doesn't play nicely with the way I'm manipulating the cursor, though. We need to, like, get a more normal implementation. It's flickering when I'm hitting the walls between rooms because it's not figuring out where we are. It's almost like we need to specify a different coordinate for just the seeing of things. But, yeah, except for the flickering, this is, like, exactly what we want. All right, looking pretty good, pretty good. You had somehow turned on the disable STD out. Oh, how you don't know? Yeah, I don't know how you did that either. Arneo, Que debugos, ipsos debugodes. That's funny. I don't know Latin. I don't know how to actually form Latin words, but I find that funny. I learned that phrase the same way everyone else did, by reading Watchmen. Not Cicero or whatever. All right, cool, cool. We're in good shape here. I guess I can forget about that clear command then. It doesn't do anything. Actually, in that case, we kind of want to do this no matter what, huh? We don't actually want this if count is greater than 0 thing. We kind of just want to do it. So we actually don't care about this count, do we? Oh no, we do. We do care. We do care. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to turn back on the exterior cutaway so that they work together. This should be fine. I don't know if I care about this halls thing. In which case, we can do this much more smartly than here, but who cares? Whatever. We're looking all right, though. We're looking all right. There's some stuff we need to fix, but it's definitely a big improvement to how we started out the day. Certainly a much bigger improvement to how we started out the week, that's for sure. All right. So why isn't this doing any kind of... Oh, I didn't turn it on. Oh, no, I did. Okay. And then what if there's, like, stuff in this room? Let's put, like, a pillar in the middle of the room, you know? So if we put a pillar in the middle of the room, it gets worn down. It hides as I mouse behind it so we can see everything. We're doing compartment-wise stuff. Yeah, this is like overly aggressive, but I think this is a better balance of readability with a lot of other things. And then, yeah, if we're doing construction, we just get this. We can just cut away. We can just do a raw cutaway so that we can actually see what we're building. And then once we're in compartment mode, like when we're actually looking through compartments, we get this. And I do like this. I prefer to have the walls, the floors jut out a little bit. I feel like it's really good for the texture and for you to understand like what's there, whether it's like a hatch or like a doorway or whatever. Okay, so what actually happens right now when we're in a doorway is we get a exterior cutaway. That's not exactly what I want. What we want is when your cursor is like in a solid object like this wall, even if the cursor is considered in the wall, we still want to know what like exterior face is adjacent to it. So we need to update our little process to give us that, because I want to know that. All right, I'm pretty pleased with this. I think we could be in much worse shape than this. We gotta fix the scroll wheel stuff so that we can scroll into the object. Because right now what I'm doing is I'm assuming manual control of the Z level and then scrolling my block up and down. And that's like not the intended workflow. But I do think this needs to remain an option, but it should only affect like the construction, not like the actual cursor location. Like we should still keep in mind where the cursor is, not necessarily where this thing is. So we'll add some kind of offset, some kind of Z offset instruction so we can modify that. But yeah, we're looking good. Pretty happy. Pretty happy with what we got right now. So I think we're going to wrap it up for the day. I got to go get some laundry going, you know, get back to work. It's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. I don't know about you all, but I'm very, very ready for the weekend. Appreciate everyone who decided to hang out with us here today. We will be here tomorrow. Usual Saturday stream. Usually starts a little late, but we'll be here.
Maximum warp.
Maximum warp, Nix. Bye. Thanks, Titan Robo Duck. TRD. I won't phonetically pronounce that though. That'd be rude. but thanks for hanging out here. Appreciate you all. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. We'll give last one drink from the Bart cup here. Bart has a reminder for everyone. Don't mind the like tomato sauce on the cup. Don't have a cow, man. I like this cup. A friend gave this to me a long time ago. It's a rather large cup, which makes it very good for water. Most just call you Titan. I will do that. Unless it's I have to choose between you and Black Void Titan. All right. Good night. Take it easy, Arneo. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will see you all next time. Oop. There we go. All right. See y'all maybe tomorrow. If not, have a great weekend. Bye.